to another episode on the J.A.T side. I'm your host, Jalen Austin Taylor, and today is Sunday, November 16th, 2025, and I'm joined by a new first-time guest, my friend, my teammate, Tiedrell Ansley. He's joining me on the podcast for the first time today, so I'm very glad to have you, Tiedrell, and if you have anything you want to say before we start today, you can say it now.
Thank you, Jalen, for having me on your podcast.
Of course. All right, so my first question for you today, Ty, is what was the biggest challenge that you faced in your recruiting process?
I feel like the biggest or difficult problem I faced was getting my film to college coaches and, sending emails because as a student athlete, you have work to do. But if you want to get recruited, especially for lacrosse, you have to get your film out and send it to lots of coaches.
Yeah, that makes sense. Tiedrell, he's a multi-sport athlete. He does lacrosse as his main sport, and then he also plays basketball. That's how we're teammates. So, um, I can definitely relate to that film part. Just like lacrosse, you got to get film to coaches for basketball too, and have film online so that coaches can kind of like find you easier. Especially in the day and age we're in with convenience. People just want to pull up stuff on their phone. With a few seconds. So, as you guys can see, Tiedrell, he's committed to Bellarmine to play lacrosse with his hoodie. So how and when did you know that Bellarmine was the right fit for you?
So I've been looking at Bellarmine, not too much into it. Originally, I met with Coach Andy at um, we do this training camp every year for our travel team, and Coach Andy was there. We introduced each other. He didn't really, well, yeah, he didn't really contact me until September 1st of last year, and he was interested. I was actually at a tournament when he saw me. Um, and he said he would like to keep in contact and get me up there for a visit. So I toured, I think around this time last year. Um, and the guys were excited to have me up there. It's a good culture that Coach Andy runs. I like the offense that they run, and I could just see myself there.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So I was like, I've heard people pronounce it. Well, I just heard you pronounce it that way. Is it like Bellarmine or is it Bellarmine?
Really, tomato. Really depends on the person.
All right, I got you. So yeah, Bellarmine is in Louisville, Kentucky. That's why I had to wear this shirt. This is University of Louisville. I haven't never been to Louisville, but my stepdad went to a game last year. So he got this shirt. But yeah, Louisville, Kentucky is where Tiedrell is going to be going to college for um to continue obviously his education, but also his lacrosse career and possibly basketball career, as we've talked about a little bit. But I'm not gonna speak too much on that right now. But my next question for you is, what's the best advice that you can give to a fellow athlete or lacrosse player to inspire them?
I feel like discipline, being positive with yourself, because you always have constructive criticism from family and friends, your coaches, but they just want the best for you. So staying motivated and being consistent at what you do. Every day, you don't have to go out and train 100%, but just sharpen up your craft every day. And for lacrosse players, especially, I would say hit the wall at least 15 minutes. I know it may seem a long time, but like it'll help you out in the long run with eye coordination and making passes.
Pretty solid advice right there. Um, yeah, I think I talked about this a couple months on my podcast, but just um, you know, something that's been preached to me by coaches that I've had for basketball is just get 1% better every day. Make small improvements to your goal of whatever your goal is, and just work towards that every day. Um, but outside of lacrosse, what's one thing that you couldn't live without?
I feel like music. Music is the way I get up in the morning. If I'm in a bad mood, I listen to music. Good mood, I listen to music. Yeah.
But that's solid. Yeah, music's definitely big for a lot of athletes, including myself. Like before a game, I gotta listen to a certain type of music to get me into kind of the right mood for that game. And different games, I might listen to different types of music before the game. It just depends on whatever I feel like I need to hear. So my final question for you um in this interview is, in your opinion, who has been the biggest influence in your lacrosse journey to this point?
I feel like it's a lot of people, a lot of factors that go into this answer, but on a day-to-day schedule, I feel like Miss Kelsey, my mom, she does a lot for me. The sharpening up around the edges. My GWA family, uh, the team, they put a lot into me. The coaches, Miss Amanda, Coach Scott, they do a lot for me. Yeah.
That's what's up. Um, yeah, Coach Jackson, who also he's a coach for basketball as well. So, Coach Jackson, he's definitely a big, I'd say a big motivator. In terms of, I know he's more of a lacrosse guy, obviously, with that being like kind of his big passion or his main passion, I should say. In terms of basketball, I think he really he's a good um motivator for us, like just to work harder. Maybe not the strategy, more of that comes from Breland and Coach Breland and Coach Reynolds, but Coach Jackson definitely he helps a lot for us, just his presence and having him there. Um but yeah, I mean that's all the questions I have for you today. Um Appreciate you for sitting down and doing this with me. As a teammate, and as a friend as well. Couldn't be more proud of you. It's a huge accomplishment playing a um college sport, playing at the collegiate level is something that not many people get to do. And then on top of that, being on a scholarship to do it, getting your education paid for, and also just being able to continue to play the game that you love, and then at the highest level at that, at the D1 level. So, you know, anything, my advice to you would be just continue to be who you are. Don't let anybody change you. I know I've only known you for about 2 years now, but just continue to be you, um, and continue to work hard, bro. But unless you want to say anything else, that'll be at the end of today's episode.
Thank you, Jalen. I just want to say thank you again for having me on this podcast and your wise words. Uh, I would say the same to you. Just keep being yourself. Shooting hoops, and congrats on Penn State.
Appreciate that. But yeah, so that's it for today's episode. Another big shout out and thank you to Tiedrell for joining me on the J.A.T side today. So keep him on your radar. He's gonna be playing at Bellarmine University in Louisville, Kentucky next year. Lacrosse, and like I said, potentially, maybe, possibly, he might play basketball there as well. Because that's just how good of an athlete he is. But without further ado, that's gonna end today's episode. I'm your host, Jalen Austin Taylor, joined by Tiedrell Ansley today. I appreciate you for listening to today's episode, and until next time, we're out.